Hi, Michelle. It's great to see you. And for anyone watching, Michelle and I have been having some conversations about, um, how our perception of men can really change the kind of love and attention we get from men, and how we can get all the love and attention we really want from really subtle changes in our mindset and how we speak about men. So we've had some great conversations about this, Michelle, because we've both been in the dating world. And tell me about your thoughts and experience in this.
I always remember that the one topic of conversation with my girlfriends was always slugging off men. I mean, that's what we perception of men and how we approach men, what the damage that caused.
Yeah, because we can kind of collude, can't we, with our girlfriends that men are always this. There's no good men out there.
Yeah.
They're only after one thing. There's these kind of sweeping generalizations, and in one fell swoop, we kind of wipe out any good intentions men may have. Taking our past experience and kind of slathering that over every man.
And it was almost like with my girlfriends, I didn't want to talk about the good stuff. It was almost like it was an unconscious agreement that we just did. Even if things were going well, we would just pick up on the negative stuff about men. Have you ever had that?
Absolutely. And I think in some ways, we get the sympathy. You get the sympathy from your friends, you get the poor you get to be right, you get to be the justified one, don't you? Because your girlfriends are so fiercely loyal to you that they are going to be they're going to be right on your side, whether they know his side of the story or not. And I think that happens so much, unless, you're really fortunate to have the kind of friendships where a woman will challenge you. But that is really quite rare. I'd say that's really quite rare.
And I would say all of that. And I think for me as well, I almost didn't want to say things were going great or the positive stuff around my dating or my relationship or thought about men, because I was almost scared of it going wrong. And then I'd feel I'd look an idiot.
Yeah.
I've always had that as well around it. Waiting for the shoe to drop, for it to all go wrong. So I might as well, be ready. I just didn't want to be embarrassing for a friend saying, oh, I met this great guy and this happened and we had a nice time. And then to go back a week later and go, oh, actually, never rang me back. And of course, I had nothing to do. I still had a great time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's so much when I look back on my experience, and we will both have clients who really are just in this place where it's actually easy to slag off a guy and to find all the faults in him. And then, even though, a woman and our clients and how we have been is we really want that intimacy and we really want that closeness and we really want that love, there can be an enormous fear of having that. An enormous fear of how vulnerable we have to be if we really want that deep love and affection. And if we're going to allow someone in. So actually, sometimes it's easier to sit back with the Prosecco with the girlfriends and say, well, yeah, he's just this and he never does this. Because I know, it's very easy to pick when we start falling for someone to go, oh, but I don't like their legs.
Yeah.
Don't like the way they sniff when they do this. And we can start picking all these little things because actually we're terrified.
Yeah,
and I find that
for stuff.
Most of my clients have that absolute fear.
And I think as well, when talking with girlfriends, if that's the way the conversation's going about something that's going on, I'm all the time going, did that guy I had a date with do that? Does my guy do that? Oh, my guy does that too. So that must mean, and I attach meaning to all of this.
Yeah. Whereas actually the shift really comes when, when we allow ourselves to really see men as guys who just want what we want. They want love, they want connection, they want someone to curl up with at night, they want a woman who they can love and adore.
Yeah.
And, you know, my own learning and all the sort of tools I learned that, you know, and I know you, that led us to be in the profession we're in now, were about actually being ready myself to allow a man to do that.
Yeah.
To allow to kind of bring out those amazing qualities. And in the online dating world, I've found actually that ability to just fall in love with the guys doesn't
Yeah.
mean sleep with every man or fall in love with every man or meet every man, but just to love them for really wanting love, wanting us to be their princess, wanting that. And they just sometimes just fumble it. You know, the guy who asks you what colour your underwear is, he's just clueless.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to meet him, doesn't mean you have to love him, but actually doesn't mean he's a bad man. It's just, he just doesn't quite know how to do it.
Yeah, he's just, like you say, he just wants exactly what we want. He just wants to be loved. And it's just changing that whole, because so much of, I can almost feel when you know, I've been on there, I've been, you know, the emails come through, you know, from the guy who's just said, hi, how was your day? You know, and we've already been talking for 3 days and nothing's moving on, and all my, just, you know, all my associations with that one message is you're boring, you're uninterested, you're probably a player, you're all of those things. And the shift for me was when I realised that this is just a guy who's doing the best he can. And actually, we're just sat here expecting them to be amazing at this dating thing. We're not great at it. We're, making a mess of it all the time. But yeah, we have this expectation that they're going to be great at it. And that shift for me was just seeing that guy as somebody at his keyboard, just going, I just really want to. I really like this woman, and I want to message her, but I just don't know what to say. And that's all he's doing. He's reaching out.
Yeah. So the damage that it does when we kind of have these conversations with our girlfriends, when we're putting men down, is that our vibe that we put out is one of mistrust, is one of judgment, and guys will pick up on it. And it makes us harder, you know, it makes us tougher, it makes us more armoured, it makes us, and it's very, very hard for a man to feel real love, that real nurturing, cherishing kind of love, for a woman who's tough and hard and judgmental. Whereas, you know, just by shifting that mindset with every man, whether it's the 85-year-old man who steps aside on the pavement for us to walk, or opens the door for us, or whoever it is, whether it's just, you know, the tramp who winks at us when we walk past, it's allowing, if we women can just see that, like, these guys are cupids firing their arrows at us. They're not men we might want to spend our lives with, sleep with, kiss, even talk with, but it's just seeing that this is kind of male attention coming towards us, and we can see that in a loving way, or we can see that in a judgmental way. One will bring us intimacy and that adoration and that care and that love, and make us feel good like women, you know, desirable. And one just keeps everybody away.
But it's scary, Naomi. It's scary, isn't it? Being open and vulnerable to, you know, if this guy winks at us, the easiest thing is to just go and have that judgment and walk away, then go, wow, thank you, and open up to him coming again with something. That can be really, really scary.
Absolutely. And you know, both our mentors, Rory Ray, you know, I remember her talking when she was training me about, you know, if a guy says something about your breasts, nice breasts, she said, I don't want anyone shutting down. You don't shut down. It's like, well, you could think,
I do have great breasts.
Maybe you do have great breasts. And then it can be, do you know, I feel uncomfortable right now hearing that. it's about being real, isn't it? But just not shutting down and being guarded. And I think that's really what we're...
It's trusting that you know that you're going to be all right. No matter what this guy says or does, you know you're going to be all right. You know that you can walk away at any point.
Yeah.
But you can walk away with openness, and that's the difference. Every encounter we have with a man, if we are ready for them to be clueless, if we're ready for them to say something inappropriate, then all a man picks up is this enormous wall around us, and they are scared. They are, and that was another thing that, you know, was a real mind blow for me when Rory Ray said it. Men are far more sensitive than we are.
Yeah.
They're terrified.
Yeah.
Imagine this poor bloke's reaching out to, you know, this brick wall that we've got around us.
Yeah.
And how much easier, and that's what changed for me. As soon as I kind of opened myself up physically, stood in front of a man, you know, without my arms crossed, you know, that's just a simple tool in itself. Just leaning back, just imagining my heart being open and smiling. It's just an invitation for a guy. It's just such a warm place for a man to land. His hello, how was your day? And of course, when we go back with warmth, he gets a bit more confident, and that's when, you know, his juices will flow, and he'll be able to write something. He'll get a bit more confidence to say something a bit more real for him, rather than, oh my God, she's had a go at me, I've obviously said the wrong thing, and he starts shutting down.
Absolutely. And the vibe we put out with the gorgeous guys needs to be the same vibe we put out with the guys that we don't find attractive, you know, which is still with warmth. Because if we have that ability all the time to just be hot, cold, actually that hot and coldness is going to come into our relationship, the committed relationship we have, where if we're practicing that warmth with everybody, but with the boundaries, and the boundaries, you know, we know that we've learned ourselves, that we teach the women who come to us, it's being strong and having that boundary, but still keeping warm. Oh, it's great.
I mean, it's that whole thing though, because we come into, you know, the hot guy that we, you know, feel very open towards. It might actually be the slightly geeky, clueless, really nice man that is perfect for us.
Yeah, and
I think that's another little chat we should have about that. About,
absolutely,
you know, the patterns of the men that we pick and whether they're actually the right guys for us.
Yeah, that can be our next one, I think, for sure, because that's going to help so many people. It certainly helped me looking at that subject.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, great to speak with you, Michelle. Well, I know on your site you send out some amazing newsletters, because I read your newsletters, all the tips and tools for love. So how can people get hold of you?
Below is a link to my website. It's michellemanleycoaching.com. And yeah, just sign up really easily and you'll get a regular newsletter from me, and it's full of stuff. And I just love hearing from people anyway.
Yeah.
And if they want coaching, then, you know, that's what I'm here for, as well as you. What about you? Again, fantastic newsletters, and you do loads of live stuff as well, which is great.
Yeah. Well, I've got a free download you can get, Attract Love Like Never Before, and you can get that from my website, naomiethompsoncoaching.com, and we'll pop that in there.
What was that again? Because I think I talked over you. Your free download.
Yes, free download from my site. It's called Attract Love Like Never Before, and really does kind of give just lots of helpful tools and tips. And yeah. So,
and I suppose what we should say as well is, if anybody wants us to, if anybody's got any questions, we're very happy to have a little chat about them together with you.
Absolutely. And I love getting requests for subjects to talk about. So if there are any subjects that people want to hear about, then absolutely, you know, ask either of us and we will come on and speak about that. So yeah, great to speak with you, Michelle.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.